Good afternoon, day 5, quarterfinals day here. We're going to be focusing on the bottom half of the draw next at the Comcast Business U.S. Open 2025, coming to you from the Ireland Spectre U.S. Squash Centre. We've got Gilly Lane and Vanessa Atkinson in the studio, alongside myself, Michael Absalom, and a fantastic night ahead to look forward to, Gilly.
One of the best nights of the week, probably the best. 4 amazing matches on tap for us tonight. The crowd will be in for it for sure.
Vanessa, what is it about quarterfinals night in particular? I know we had a round of quarterfinals yesterday, but why is there an extra buzz around the quarterfinals?
I mean, it's getting to the latter stages, obviously, the big round, but also I think you get the top players sort of coming through, so you get some really good matchups. And historically, it's just very often been the best matches, the close matches have happened on quarterfinals night. Plus, the crowd get more for their money often with quarterfinals, especially if you get the 8-match day.
That's what I always say to friends who are getting into squash. I'm like, you should just watch a quarterfinals night and then give us some feedback off that.
Yeah, often you can pick the winner from these nights. You find the player that's coming into form. You see them against an opponent that is nearing them in their level, and whoever comes through tonight in good form, they're putting themselves in great position to lift that trophy on Saturday.
Did we see our winner yesterday in those first set of quarterfinals, or are we going to see our winner come from the bottom half of the draw?
Possibly, who knows? I mean, the very exciting thing tonight is that we could have a second American in the semi-finals in the women's events. That
I know someone that was very excited about that.
Yeah, that would be definitely good for the U.S. Open to have two women in the semi-finals from the U.S. Amanda Soie, she's been carrying the flag for 2 decades now. She's really put women's squash in the States on the map, on the world scene. She's been a legend of the game, one of the best players in this generation. So I know she'll be shooting for another semi-final appearance tonight. And
Olivia Weaver safely through from yesterday's quarterfinals.
Yeah, absolutely. She was fantastic. Very, very clinical. She looked as good as she's looked all season. Obviously, she missed a few events, but there was no evidence of that in that performance last night.
Okay, let's tease people with what we've got to come this evening. Quarterfinals night, bottom half of the draw. We'll start at the bottom of that. So our last match of the evening, Karim Gawad up against Mohamed Zakariah. Old guard versus the new guard. Amina Orfi, the new world number 3, youngest ever world number 3, takes on Gilis. Baptiste Masotti has a chance to take out Coll here, but Coll on stonking form. And then our first match, as you were just alluding to there, features the US's Amanda Soie against Nour Sherbini. Take your pick, Gilly.
Oh gosh, that is a tough one. They just played in Egypt, 3-2 to El Sherbini. Amanda's 6 wins over the GOAT, Nour Sherbini, the greatest of all time. You could say that Amanda is Nour's Achilles heel. Could say that. You could say that. But she has really had success against the top 3, against Gohar, against El Hamami, against El Sherbini. She matches up really well with all 3 of them. Her attacking style, being a southpaw, a left-hander, she really messes with the rhythm of these 3 players. And her confidence on the big stage since she's been 16 years old, I mean, that gives her the confidence to play for these big, big titles.
Yeah, I mean, that's an unbelievable record. I must add that she hasn't had a win against either of those 3 since she came back from that big injury at the end of 2023. So she's looking for a first win against the big 3. But she, in that previous to that, in 2023, she had multiple wins. I mean, she was absolutely on the best form of her life, and unfortunately that ended right at the end of the year.
Yeah, but when anybody else plays against the top 3 on the tour, it's a big moment for them. Like, can they handle the stress, the anxiety of playing one of the best players in the game? She's been there. She's done it. She's been world number 3. She's been on this stage before. She's been tested, and she's won big matches. So she will not feel any nerves tonight. It's more excitement to go out there and prove herself again.
For those of you that don't know, it was an Achilles rupture, wasn't it? But not for the first time, her second one.
Yeah.
That's quite serious for any athlete in any sport.
Hugely serious, but I think the takeaway from that is that she's playing the warrior princess, but she is absolutely a warrior. To come back from that injury twice and get back, and she's now as close to that level that she was when that happened as I've seen so far. That is immense. I don't think anyone's done that before.
No, I think it's an incredible comeback, and also mentally, I think she's in a really, really good place. Having gone through it before, she knows what to expect from the return. And obviously, she's confident that she's come back once, she can do it again. Yeah. And her game matches up great, and I like her chances tonight.
Yeah. She was sort of taking, going close and taking games off her at the British Open at the end of last season, and then we also saw in the Egyptian Open getting really close there. So let's maybe have a quick look at that and analyse what we can take away from this one here.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I watched that back this afternoon actually, and I hadn't actually realised how close she came. It was a great match from start to finish. Unusual conditions, obviously, it's sort of in the desert by the pyramids, windy, but it's also kind of dead, the court, but humid at the same time, so they're really difficult conditions for the players to deal with.
Sherbini doesn't like playing outside at all. She's not got a great track record outdoors. She's going to be indoors tonight.
Yeah, not for her standards. She didn't. I mean, Sherbini hasn't been playing well. I think we must add that she wasn't in form in that match, and it was absolutely an opportunity for Soie to win that match, and she just couldn't quite cross the line.
Yeah, 100%. The reason I think Amanda's game works so well against Noor is that Amanda, being a left-handed player, she's good crossing that ball onto Noor's forehand, actually, which is, we wouldn't say play a person on their forehand, but Noor is so good on her backhand from the middle of the court. Her drop from that area is lethal, and when she's in the front left with time, I mean, she hurts people all over the court. So I think if Amanda can actually attack the back right tonight, I think she's going to be in a good chance to cause an upset.
So she was leading 2-1, just for anyone again that's new to the sport. She was leading 2-1 there.
9-all in the fourth. I mean, she was 2 points away from a big win, and I think possibly if she mentally had realised that she was at that stage, it was obviously the first event of the season, so maybe she sort of surprised herself with how well she played and couldn't quite cross the line. But that's a brilliant point that you just made with the lefty, and I think it really throws off a lot of her opponents, but especially Sherbini. Sherbini's the kind of player where she expects the other players to plan their game plan around her. Like, she always plays her game. Like, she's the boss, I'm in charge, you have to have a game plan to beat me. But I think she has to kind of do something a little bit different against Soie. And there's also very few top level lefties in the women's tour, going back quite a few years, so it's kind of unusual for them to face that, and she has to sort of throw the ball over to the other side a bit more. She has to have a game plan, which I don't think Sherbini often does. She plays to her strengths, and that works against most people.
And they've had so many chapters in their book together, 18 years together on tour, juniors against each other. They've played each other so many times. They know exactly the rhythm and the styles that are going to be out there tonight. And Amanda, her confidence is like a world number one, so she's not scared of anyone, right? So she's going to take her game to her opponents always in each match.
How do you train to play against the left-hander then? If there's so few on tour, how does Noor Sherbini train from a coaching perspective for you? If you're coaching mostly right-handers, what do you say to them when a left-hander turns up?
We talked about this the other night, but I mean, it's really, you pound that back right corner, that backhand corner, and kind of work off of there. But it really takes a little bit of time to with your coach to make that mental switch, to say, okay, you might have to just do things the opposite.
Who's the person that you go, I know someone that is left-handed, and we can get into some match practice? I guess that's what I'm getting at. That's the tactics, but then you need someone who's physically left-handed to play against.
You need to practice it exactly. I don't know if that happens, whether she's got practice partners at home that she can put on that are lefties. She'll certainly have to think about the game in a slightly different way, but there's no way to replicate that other than to find a lefty.
I mean, I find that quite baffling, that there's no way. It's a completely different game.
Well, yeah, for sure. For a couple years on our team, we had all righties, and actually we struggled against left-handers opponents.
Yeah.
So fortunately, I recruited 2 left-handers. We should not struggle against that anymore, because they are tough to play against. For me, I loved playing against left-handers because I trusted my forehand straight so much more than my backhand. And when a player feels comfortable, especially down that forehand side, it can cause a lefty a lot of problems because they're so used to playing straight down their forehand. So I do think, as Vanessa said, it's a total contrast of styles, and it's the one time where the lefty-righty thing, it really does make a difference.
Okay, that's our first match of the evening, featuring Noor Sherbini and Amanda Soie. The next match of the night will feature Baptiste Masotti. He's on great form. He takes on Coll, who's on even better form, arguably, having won 2 of the events already this season. How do we see this one shaping up?
I think it's going to be a test of who stays in front. I mean, honestly, they're both physical players. Paul has been in amazing form since losing to Adam Hawal in Egypt. A little bit of blip in the radar for him, but he's come back to, I think, the best form of his career, and I think he's really pushing towards that #1 spot.
Yeah, I think we're going to definitely see a good performance from Coll. I think it's all about what we get from Masotti. It's only his second time in a quarterfinal of a platinum event, so it's a huge moment for him, and it's taken him 6 years to get here as well since the last time.
Okay, well, let's have a little teaser of what's to come in that one, because Baptiste Masotti of France, as Vanessa said there, just his second appearance. So it might just be sort of lacking a bit of that big game experience, but this is the last time that he featured in a platinum event. It was 2019. It was at the Egyptian Open. Quarterfinal stage is about an unrecognisable Joel Makin there he's up against with no beard. It's taken 6 years to grow his big ginger beard.
Yeah, he looks 10 years younger in that video, but for Baptiste to win against somebody who's so physical like Joel, he has it in him to play somebody like Paul.
Pre-COVID this as well, by the way. So it's a different world.
An amazing win for Baptiste here, and and he looked really comfortable in his match against Ali Abu Alainen the other night.
Yeah.
I think actually he'll be feeling pretty physically fresh for tonight and be ready to go for it, because it's an amazing opportunity for him to get into a semifinal, his first platinum semifinal.
He's motivated.
I'm definitely motivated by his camp.
If you think he was probably 24, 25 at that point, hasn't quite lived up to the promise. It's taken him 6 years to get to another quarterfinal. He's now 30 years old, so it's time to make that move. He's working with Gregory Gocher, who, as we saw in his post-match interview, he's got a lot of respect for.
Yeah.
They've been friends for a lot of years, and maybe that's exactly what he needs to make that next step. He's very expressive as a player, as a person, but there was a lot more discipline in that match against Alainen, which is exactly what he needed. So maybe that's made the difference.
Okay, let's chat Paul Coll next then. He won Qatar. That was the last platinum event on the PSA squash tour just last month. And then Asal, he was his opponent in the final, but Coll had the goods to deliver.
Yeah, I've been watching Paul play for a decade now. I think this is his most complete performance in a final that I've ever seen. Tactically, he was 10 out of 10. I mean, his lifting ability to the forehand side was incredible. He had Mustafa off balance the entire match, and his accuracy, oh my gosh, it was unreal, unbelievable. And the sessions that he's been doing with Rob Owen that we've seen on Squash TV, I think all of us now see how that accuracy came about. I mean, wow, from the front of the court, he was just unbelievable.
Showed it again last night against Jonah Bryant.
It was an unbelievable match. I was in commentary for that one. We talk about players sort of being contained and shackled, and I've never seen a better example of that than this match. Very frustrating for the young Englishman, because he just couldn't play. He couldn't express himself at all. He couldn't even really show his athleticism, because he was just tucked into those four corners pretty much for the entire match.
Just to clarify, that was a round 2 match as well. I know some people might have seen quarter-final there, but this was actually in round 2.
Yeah, and they work with the same coach. It was kind of like older brother bullying little brother a little bit, not physically, but just he stayed in front. Jonah was behind him the entire time. I mean, literally taking the ball so early, you see right there, being super aggressive around the midcourt area, and just another complete performance by the New Zealand number 1.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that Hawal loss is really, there's a huge silver lining there now for Coll, just because of the way he's dealt with it. We talk about the best players, they're going to bounce back after big losses, and he's come away from that. He was absolutely devastated, and he's now playing better than even at the London Classic, which he won. I think he's won the final in Qatar, and he just seems to be getting better and better, and back to the level that had him, world number 1, winning British Opens, perhaps.
Yeah, it was almost, I think, a little embarrassing for him, and he talked about going and punishing himself with those court sprints and getting on the rowing machine. But that's the kind of mindset that he has. That's why he's been so successful on tour. And you know what? It just woke him up, and I'd be worried to play him.
Okay, well, let's hold that chat there, and we'll see how that one unfolds. Second match of the night, Baptiste Masotti against Paul Coll. Another young man that's in action tonight is this chap. Mohamed, congratulations through to another quarter-final at a platinum event. That must feel pretty good.
Yeah, no, it does feel amazing, and I think I played well yesterday, and I was pretty happy with the performance. Yeah.
So it tees up a juicy quarter-final against Karim Abdul-Gawad. It's the old guard against the new guard. He must be a player that you've looked up to in the past. So how do you fancy your chances?
Well, as I said yesterday, I'm happy about this match, because I want to play these tough matches, and I mean, he's playing really, really well the past couple of the weeks. And I think he's in form now, and it's good to play this match while he's playing well, so it would be really, really enjoyable.
There's a feeling in the studio that this could be the night of upsets, and that you can deliver an upset tonight. Is that how you feel?
Yes, I mean, I always feel like anything can happen, but I really like my chances in this match, and I think if I play it well, I have a really big chance here.
Keen to find out a bit more about you as well, and who your squash icons were growing up. I mean, you're still only 18 years of age, 2-time world junior champion. Who did you look up to?
Well, back in the day, I mean, I like to watch. I mean, I'm not saying this because he's my coach, but I used to watch a lot of Jonathan Power before I even started working with him. I watched a lot of him and a lot of Amr Shabana, and I mean, I just loved the way they were both playing. I mean, up until later, I started looking up towards Ali Farag, how he carried himself, how his manners were, and how he treated others, and I think I took some features from that. Yeah.
We talk a lot in the studio again about accountability this season, and you're certainly one of those players that's taking accountability for past mistakes. I know in Qatar you weren't happy with your movement in that Jonah Bryant game, 109 minutes in total.
Yeah.
It was amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
But here this week you've taken accountability for that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a huge step for me. I mean, before anything else, I had to be comfortable between myself and to be right with myself, to say I did the wrong thing, and own it. And when I owned it, and as soon as I finished and I went back, I owned it. And first I was like, okay, what I did was wrong. I need to start fixing it. And that's, I mean, growing up, I was the kind of guy that it doesn't, like, I read all the comments after I finished the match. I was going online and I read it, which was, some would say it was a mistake, but I was fine because I've been projected to some negative comments when I was younger. But the thing with me is I read those and I try to take like what I can work on from them. It's not like it's gonna put me down, but when I read them and I was seeing all the comments about my movement, and then I watched it and I saw them, I was like, okay, I need to put an end to this. And before I can even step into any like blacklist or whatever, but I read all the comments, and then I started working on them alone, on my footwear, on my ghostings alone, and then match play alone in Egypt and Qatar. So I think I was very happy with dealing with the negative comments and taking them and working on them, even if they were harsh.
Where does that maturity come from?
I think it comes from my mom, because my mom really always would tell me these harsh comments after my matches, and I would have to listen. And then I just learned to listen through these hard things, because I can always learn from them. If I don't listen to them now, I would keep repeating those mistakes, and then I won't move forward. So I just, from a very young age, I would get these harsh comments after my matches or after anything I do, and then I would just, like when I was younger, I wouldn't listen to them as much, but I started really focusing on the small details of them and listen. Hey, this is tough to listen to. This is tough to hear, but you have to take it and work on it so you don't hear it again.
Yeah. Well, tonight you can make history. You can get into your first major semi-final on the PSA Squash Tour if you beat Kareem Abdul-Gawad. What do you have to do right tonight?
I would say Kareem is very skillful. His hands, I mean, no one can read them. Even if I'm watching from outside, no one can read them. So I think I'm just still watching loads of matches for him, and I will have to come up with a pretty solid game plan A, plan B, and C. And I think no, it's going to be a good match, and I'm really, really excited to play something like this, and even more excited to prepare for it.
Well, good luck this evening. Thanks for your time. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you. Yeah, chance for Mohamed Zakariah to make his first major semi-final here on the PSA Squash Tour. Joey Barrington has joined us here. Gilly Lane's still in the studio as well. Joey, just some feedback on Zakariah and I guess his evolution this season. You were there in Qatar when all this was going on, and there were those dodgy movements.
Yeah, I mean, they're very subtle. He knew what he was doing. I mean, and he's changed them within a week or so. We'll see what happens tonight. I'm sure he'll be as good as gold tonight. But his quality of squash is improved massively. Technically, he's been working on his forehand side in particular with Jonathan Power. You can see a few kind of powerisms there in the front forehand. He's hitting with a lot more power in the backhand, in the back corner on the forehand side, and his accuracy levels are immaculate on that backhand side. I'm really impressed with his actual squash ability, and he's shown that already in this event, taking out Yusuf Solomon 3-love.
Yeah. Gilly, anything to add to that?
Yeah, the big test to see whether he's learned from the last one is if it gets close tonight in those big rallies, right? Will the movement be better?
Is it. Exactly,
right?
Gilly.
Exactly. It will be better. But to Joey's point, he has changed his forehand a little bit. I've seen it earlier this week, power-esque, the way he's taking it into the front right. But what I admire about him so much is he plays like a savvy veteran. And when it gets to 7-8 all, he just chips that ball up and down the backhand. And guess what? He's squeezing his opponents, forcing errors of players that have been world number one. They've been in these big matches.
And that's going to be the test, the physicality of Gawad, because he can get disinterested sometimes. Yes, he's on a real roll at the moment, but the rallies are generally long and hard with Zakariah for somebody so young. And the backhand side, when he is feeling really, really quite ill from a tough rally, he negates very well. He defends very, very well. He's very gutsy. So, if Gawad comes out to play and is feeling like a real frisky baby-faced assassin, then we will have a 5-gamer tonight.
He does need to make it tough, but he does need to attack him.
Yeah,
right?
he will.
Don't you think?
Will. No. I mean, backhand front corner, Gawad is going to get stuck into that area because that's his favourite. The interesting one for me is going to be the forehand front corner because Zakariah is kind of making that his own a little bit. He's got some tricks there.
Yeah, he's been really impressive up there. I mean, it reminds me of watching Jonathan on the YouTube videos with Fabian Colitis, his YouTube holding from the front and snapping to the back. But he's doing exactly that, right? And he's putting his own little twist on it, and he's making it his own, just like you said. But again, if he adds that to that basic game that he, at 18 years old, seems so mature, again, it's a future world #1 in the making.
Excellent. Well, let's see a bit more on his opponent, Karim Gawad, winner in Silicon Valley just last week on the West Coast. And this was him beating Victor Crin in that men's final. This was a pretty impressive performance as well.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, Gilly. It was great for him to take that title. Obviously, it opened up nicely with the Sal being out.
Yeah, I mean, it was the best I've seen him play in the last 6, 7, 8 months. I mean, he was on form, just like the way he was when he was world #1 and world champion. So great to get to see him back in the spot, playing the way he is and pushing to the world top 4.
Yeah, he can do, because Joel Makin lost yesterday, of course. So that gives Gawad the opportunity. If he makes the semi-final with a win here tonight, he can go back into the top 4.
I mean, I'm really happy about that for a lot of different reasons. Not only because he's a kind of, we've said he's like the Federer of squash because he's so silky and so talented, but for him to get back there in the top 4, it opens up for him again because it opens the draws up for him, so it gives another opportunity. Joel Makin had a real go at trying to get to that #3 spot, and he's possibly going to get surpassed. Just going back to Gawad's form, there's been glimpses in the past where he's beaten top players. He beat Paul Coll at the Australian Open back in March at the end of last season. He's always done that, but I'm fascinated to see if we see this run continue from San Francisco.
Yeah, there's been jokes made about his fitness, but physically, he looks great. He's moving really well to the front of the court. He's held up really well in San Francisco. One more match tonight. I know Zakariah is going to make it tough. I actually think he holds up really well tonight, given that he hasn't had a couple tough matches. Suzuki was tough. I think he could have finished it in 3. That third game for Ferris, I almost enabled him to take it to 5, but he closed it down in the 4th, and I think if it went to 5, it would have hurt him a little bit more, but that's the experience that he has.
It is, and the first game is going to be really crucial because Zakariah starts very, very well. He's very mature.
Slow.
And Gawad, he's not slow, but he can be sluggish off the. He can be in a bit of a pizza coma.
I was going to say, according to your commentary, and is there any truth in the fact that he loves pizza, or is that just something?
No, he loves pizza. It's his favourite food. I mean, it's he's.
But who doesn't love pizza?
I mean, come on, Michael. I mean, you absolutely devour pizza for breakfast.
I had a couple of slices actually from Will Carlin, who brought them into the studio today. Lovely little slice of margarita. Very good. Yeah. Anyway, that's our final match of the evening. Karim Gawad against Mohamed Zakariah. But don't forget, Amina Orfi against Tina Gilis is the match just sort of before that, the third match of the evening, the second women's quarterfinal of the night.
Yeah, Amina Orfi, now the youngest player to ever be 3 in the world. She's just climbing up the rankings at such a young age, taking the tour by storm. I mean, basically hitting the ball through the wall every time she hits. I feel like there's only one pace, and it's like a pitcher throwing 100 miles an hour out of the bullpen, the reliever, the closer in baseball, with just a fastball, no changeup, no curveball. She's just out there with pace.
It's unbelievable how hard she hits there. I mean, it's quite ironic because the hardest hitter of the ball in my book back in the day was the hammer of Thor, Omar Mossad, who's now her coach, so he's obviously going to be making sure she hits it even harder than usual. But no, it's interesting how he develops her game, and I think he's a good fit for her.
What do you think that she needs to add, though, into her game to get into that upper echelon? Because right now she's sitting in that 4 or 5 spot, with the top 3 kind of a level above now.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, you kind of mirror her a little bit with Gawad. So Gawad came out with the same hard-hitting kind of plan A for quite a good few years, and then she started to bring in the defensive play, a few more holds, a bit more change in pace, and that's something that Omar Mossad, I truly believe, will bring into her game. He was an incredibly big guy, and he had to play very efficiently and cleverly, and that's something she needs. She tee charges a lot, so she comes running up to the tee, and she kind of charges into the tee, which is quite inefficient. So when she starts to get through these events looking to win platinums, she needs to get through efficiently. It's very impressive, this physicality, but it also needs to have an efficiency factor to then be able to win major tournaments.
Anything to add on to that one as well about, I guess, the input coaches can have as well for these sort of high-level players?
Well, I want to go back to the physicality part because she played Nayla Gilis in the first round and got through 3-2.
Yeah.
Nayla, a total grinder, one of the fittest players on tour, was able to actually soak up that pace really well. And when it was one pace for Nayla, it enabled her to stay in that match a lot longer. So I would actually look for Tine, her sister. No one beats the Gilis sisters twice.
What do you call her?
Tine.
Okay. Yeah, that's the Dutch pronunciation.
Well, I lived in Holland for 3 years, Joey.
Don't let him.
She's from Belgium.
He's going to go to the naughty corner in a minute.
But I actually look to Tine to soak up a lot of that pace today.
Yeah.
Can she handle the velocity that she's hitting with every shot, right? Can she then fire that ball in and change the pace and kind of throw her out of rhythm? I think she can. But she's only beaten her once. She'll probably go back to that match at Squash on Fire and say, what did I do really well here? Can I put that into play tonight?
Okay, they have met before in the Australian Open. I know you've got another point to make there, Joey. We will come to it. Let's just remind everyone of when they did last meet. Australian Open semi-final. That was March 2025. Orfi winning this match by 3 games to love.
Yeah, I mean, what will be different here is that she's got David Palmer, I presume, will be coming down. So Tina Gilis changed up. She was working with Greg. She's now working with David Palmer. He'll come down and he'll definitely be very tactical and come up with a good plan for her to try and deal with Orfi. Going back to kind of Orfi, the worrying thing for the other players is the fact that she's going to add a plan B at some point. So at the moment she's got to the level where she's at playing one way. When she starts adding all those extra facets to a game, she stays healthy and doesn't get injured. That's when you're looking at someone that could well end up hitting the top of the tree.
Yeah, I would say a little bit more hold and hit specifically from the front of the court, a little bit more delay. It's going to cause her opponent to stay on the tee a little bit longer. They're waiting for that pace, but all of a sudden they see something a little soft and they're totally thrown off, right? So all of a sudden they move back and they have to move forward. So just keeping them off balance, and I think that's going to be massive for her, in changing that game.
What does she have to do to break into the big three and make it the big four, make it a race between 4 quality players on the women's tour?
Well, start winning majors, and she was very, very close in Elguna when she took out Nour El Sherbini in the quarterfinals, then Weaver, and then lost out in 4 to Naron Gohar. I mean, she couldn't have been any closer, so she's got to win majors. And
she's won a load of junior titles, the 4 junior titles there to her name, making her the most successful junior player, the only player, in fact, to ever win 4 junior titles, and there were some big names on there. Also now the youngest world number 3, Amina Orfi, 18 years old and 3 months, becomes the youngest ever world number 3. Again, some big names on that list.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think when you think about in the tennis world, Andy Roddick always talked about, I'm not one of the big dogs until I start winning titles, right? And when he won that first Wimbledon, U.S. Open, he felt like he belonged. But until then, until he beat Federer, until he beat the Djokovic's, until he beat, Nadal's, he didn't really feel like he was a part of that group. And I agree with Joey. You have to win titles
so
in this sport.
So it's not just about her getting into the semi-final time and time again?
No, I don't think so at all, because you can consistently make semi-finals and put your ranking in the top 4, but until you win something, until you cement yourself, until you name on that trophy, right? That's
and
when you
beat
become
the girls above you.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But what does separate her from the other girls outside of the big 3 is the fact that she's beaten Sherbini, she's beaten El Hamami, and she's backed up. She's been so close, as I said, with Elguna. I mean, she's very, very close to winning a platinum event. She's won golds, which is the next tier down, and she's very close. It is literally a matter of time before she wins,
including this season as well, winning that gold in London. And she hasn't beaten Naron Gohar, but she's not here this week.
Yeah, I'll go out and say I think that she'll win a platinum title this year. I think that she'll win one.
You can't beat Naron Gohar if she's not here, though.
Yes, that's true.
I get that bit.
But I think if she finds Plan B, she's going to win plenty of platinum titles. And I think that the other thing is that the top 3 know that she's coming. They know that she's coming. She's coming. She's on her way. She is on her way.
She's coming. The Terminator 2. Yeah.
So do you just see that going her way then? This Tina Gilis match against Amina Orfi?
I think so. Yeah. I'm very confident that she's going to produce a pretty ruthless performance tonight.
Yeah, I think she sees the opportunity here. She's not waiting around to win this title. She wants it now.
Yeah.
She wants it this week, right? And so I don't think anyone would be surprised if she does that. Obviously, Hanya, Olivia on the other side, Nour El Sherbini, Amanda. I mean, she's got a ways to go, but she believes in herself now. Just like Zakariah. Like these young kids, they have no fear whatsoever.
Final point to take us home.
We're going to see a big night of squash tonight. So last night was a little bit disappointing. Tonight, I think we could have a lot of 5-setters. They're going to get their money's worth here and on Squash TV.
Good. That's what we want, and that's where we want you to go now. Head over to Squash TV. Thanks very much for watching this free episode on our YouTube channel. We're going to squat over there now, so come back and join us. Commentators for this first one, Joey Barrington and Vanessa Atkinson. You better get it off to the comms box. Gilly and I are going to stay here. Good evening and welcome along to Day 5, quarterfinals night here at the Comcast Business U.S. Open 2025, coming to you from the Ireland Spectre U.S. Squash Centre, a platinum event on the PSA Squash Tour. What a fantastic view this is. What an incredible venue in the heart of Philadelphia. And the doors are open, the fans are starting to come in some American interest in the first match of the night. Amanda Soie takes on Nour El Sherbini, a player that she's beaten 6 times before. And here in the studio, just on the other side of the glass court, the West Court, is myself,